Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit in current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Well, I guess my soundboard doesn't want to be working this morning. Are you hearing it, Josh? Okay, Josh hears it. I don't. So as long as he does. Well, again, if you ever have any home or finance related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by. Yeah, like the time for us to celebrate. Is it time for us to celebrate today? I think so. Let's see if... Okay. What are we celebrating? Let's see. Let me get back to where I'm supposed to be over here. National Picnic Day? Wouldn't that be on the weekend? I mean, aren't people working today? Is it a holiday? You know, I would think that would be like on Memorial Day or Labor Day or July 4th. Okay. Lost Dog Awareness Day. We got collars. We got chips. We don't need that. Take a Chance Day. Just do it. Beating anorexia, though, let's go for the one that I like. National Cherry Cheesecake Day. I can get behind that. I can never go wrong with some cherry cheesecake. Get a little thicker on the cheese on that. Oh, the picture Josh has is much better. The only thing we're missing, Josh, is the whipped cream. But, you know, I could always go with whipped cream on anything. Hey, let's take a look and see what's going on in the markets today. Let's see. We've got the Dow Jones Industrial Average down 98.5 points. The NASDAQ is down 90 points. The S&P 500 is down 8 points. And oil is up $1.51 a barrel. So we're not too excited about that being up a bit there. But we'll keep on watching it. We watch it all the time. So let's see what else we've got going on in the world. Not a lot of news today from our financial standpoint. That's where we're always looking at the financial standpoint. Not a lot of news to deal with in the financial world. Going to watch just for some fun, or if you've got no life like me, you're going to watch for the White House Correspondents' Dinner is going to be this weekend. Yeah, I don't think I'll be watching that one too much. Let's see what else is going on. We got some interesting articles we're going to talk about that I saw in the news today. People with the low interest rates, are they finally starting to almost get forced to go and find a new property? Well, we'll see what happens on that one. I see and this one I kind of like. So the NFL, they've got the NFL is a big behemoth of everything. And they really don't care about you and me. They care about their bottom line. Well, apparently there's some discussion right now that the federal government is looking into them pushing all of this stuff, all of these games to various streaming services. And the NFL's coming out with this lovely thought. Now, I don't know how you can come up with this logic, but the NFL is saying that by having the games on all of these different services, it's cheaper for you and me to watch the games. How they come up with that idea, they're basically saying, well, if they were all on one station, they'd have to charge more money. Well, what does that mean? I mean, right now you've got games on CBS, NBC, Fox, Amazon, I think Prime has some of the games. ESPN has some games. Paramount has some games. So if you want to watch football, you've got to, or you, I think you got to go even to Sunday Tickets. So YouTube has got some. So if you want to watch the NFL, you've got to subscribe to all these different services. Is that really what we're looking to do? Now, I've heard a lot of people talk about the idea of cutting the cord. Well, I don't know that you can ever cut the cord, although I guess is Wi-Fi termed as cutting the cord? Because, I got all these smart TVs in our house, and you got to have all these different services on every TV if you want to watch the games. My youngest son likes to watch the Cowboy games. My middle son likes the Seahawks. The oldest likes the Packers, and I'm a Ram fan. So how do you get all these games? Yeah, you got to pay more for them. So how the NFL comes up with the idea that they're doing this as a favor to the consumer. Does anybody really believe that the NFL does anything as a favor to the consumer?
You know better than that.
No, I don't think that they're doing anything for us. The other area that I find fascinating is all of the different services and how the NFL ties in with all the gambling services. Now, I don't know, Josh would know this one better than me probably, but is Vegas hurting because of all of these different online gambling services? No. The people are still going to Vegas. Are they still allocating as much footage in the casinos to the sports books as they used to? Still got all those big sports books. Do you think that the casinos are really dedicating all of that footage to sports books if they weren't making money at it? Not a chance. It's all about the buck. So, but I have seen, with all these prop bets, and I'll be the first to, I'll come clean. I'll own it. So I used to gamble way, way, way too much. I don't gamble hardly anything anymore. I'm not sure I even gamble at all. But I used to go to Vegas every 3 weeks gambling when I was significantly younger. Stupid. Because you don't win. The only one that wins in Vegas is the house. Just throw that out there. So the idea here is now I was at a conference recently that more young females are buying houses than young males. And when they survey to find out why that is, well, the guys are spending more money gambling on these prop bets, these online bets where you can sit in your easy chair or at a local bar and place bets. Now, I know we're in California, and no, you can't do all these things in California. But once again,
You know better than that.
I'm going to guess. Now, again, I am not the tech guru. Josh knows a lot more about that than me, too. So if you have a VPN, a virtual network, and you log in and say, I'm in Nevada, where it takes you away from California, can I go on that Kings thing or whatever those other things are and bet if I'm on a VPN showing where I'm somewhere else? Can't do that, even if I'm in California. I know I can't do it legally, Josh. But doesn't the VPN tell these servers that you're somewhere where you're not? I don't know. Josh is the guru. He says I can't do it. I don't try, but I'm sure that people are figuring ways around. If they really want to gamble, there's always a way to do it. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, 3 things that are not going to happen in today's housing market. The better your CPA, the worse you look to a lender. We're going to talk about how to flip it. And you do not have to give up your 2.5% rate, your mortgage rate, to move. The math proves it. We'll talk about that and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you missed any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452. You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by rsrlinks.com/rsrlinks.com/mobile app. And every day at this time, OBMMI, they provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates with consumers across 35% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. They don't tell us points paid, points received, or the APR. They tell us the number you put in your mortgage calculator to determine your principal and interest payment. If you don't have a mortgage calculator, get it. It's free. rsrlinks.com/mobile app. rsrlinks.com/calculators. rsrlinks.com/calculators. Again, still free. Rates yesterday, mostly down. 30-year conventional, 6.237. That one was up. Jumbo 30-year fix, 6.387. That was down. FHA 30-year fix, 6.079. That was down. VA 30-year fix, 5.897. That was up. USDA 30-year fix, 5.939. That was down. If you want our thoughts about the market, join the Ron Siegel Radio community, rsrlinks.com/HBOD. rsrlinks.com/HBOD. What's the markets doing today? Well, the S&P 500 down 6 points. 10-year Treasury, that one is pretty flat, down 0.7 of a basis point, 4.297 on that 10-year Treasury. And the mortgage bond is up just a little bit, 5 basis points. Remember, bond up, rates down. All that's available, super secret website, google.com. The reason you tune into Ron Siegel Radio is why is it happening? And I'll tell you, the first to tell you right here, right now, it's not because of the news. Well, the news kind of correlates what the markets are doing in the bond market. The news, not a whole lot of it. Bond market, not moving a whole heck of a lot. So what is going on? The National Association of Realtors released their home buyers and sellers generational trends report, which breaks down the age of home buyers by percentage distribution and shows that the majority of home buying occurs among Generation X, 46 to 60 years old, and younger boomers, 61 to 70 years old, with these two age groups accounting for 52% of all home sales. It can really pay dividends if you are in that group, if you are looking, and if you're selling, market to that group. The report also broke down the household income of home buyers, showing that 38% of household home buyers made between $100,000 and $199,000 or $200,000. Bearing this in mind when doing the marketing again, or keeping your payments, dealing with your payments. Keep those payments between $3,000 and $6,000 to make it work. And yes, if you're selling, the payment assistance program is right there. We've got it available for you. Also, dealing with the markets is obviously oil prices. Oil up about $1.50 a barrel right now this morning, 94.43 a barrel. Iran attacked 3 ships in the Strait of Hormuz and says they seized 2 of them. Appears to be in retaliation to the U.S. seizing an Iranian ship and the continued U.S. blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. Despite these setbacks, the ceasefire remains in effect. We did get initial jobless claims, measures individuals filing for unemployment benefits for the very first time, rose 6,000 to 214,000. This figure continues to remain very muted. Continuing claims of those who continue to receive benefits after their initial claim rose 12,000 to 1.82 million. This figure has been a bit lower than we have been seeing, but there are benefits expiring at the same time. That's the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by rsrlinks.com/mobile app, rsrlinks.com/mobile app. And we've got a Mortgage 101 Mortgage 101 story for you today. Mortgage 101 brought to you by rsrlinks.com/keysteps. The better your CPA, the worse you look to a lender. If you own a business, that one sentence is costing you the house you want. I am Ron Siegel, Certified Liability Advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. If you own a business, if you file at an 1120 or a Schedule C, if you have a good CPA who does their job well, you already know the problem. Your CPA's job is to make you look as small as possible to Uncle Sam. My job is to make you look real to a lender. Those two things almost never match. Let me tell you about a client I worked with not long ago. He owns a small manufacturing business, good company, runs it out of a warehouse, does about $1 million a year in gross sales. His CPA, who by the way is excellent at her job, wrote off everything that was legal to write off. Equipment mileage, home office, depreciation, you name it. By the time the smoke cleared, his 1120 showed a net income of about $72,000 for the year. $72,000 on paper. Now that's great for his tax bill, terrible for a mortgage application, because if we analyze that tax return against Fannie Mae guidelines, they're going to qualify him on $72,000, not $1 million. $72,000. That is the gap. That's where most self-employed borrowers get stuck. And for years, the only real answer was full doc loans, which means 2 years of personal and business tax returns, profit and loss statements, balance sheets, K-1s, partnership returns, year-to-date financials, and a pile of documentation your CPA charges you extra to pull together. Or a bank statement loan, which means 12 months of bank statements, fighting over deposits, chasing down transfers, and hoping the math works. There is a better way. It's called the CPA Gross Receipts Program. And if you are a business owner listening right now, I want you to pay attention. So what does this mean for you? Here's how it works. Instead of a stack of tax returns and financials, we go straight to the source, your CPA, or a licensed tax preparer with a verifiable PTIN number. They write us a letter. The letter states three things: what tax year they prepared, what your gross sales receipts were for that year, and what your ownership percentage is in the business. That's it. No tax returns, no transcripts, no 45016, no balance sheets, one letter. From there, we take your gross receipts, we apply a 50% expense factor, we divide that by 12. That's your qualifying monthly income. Let me show you the math on my client. $1 million in gross receipts. Cut that in half, $500,000. Divided by 12, $41,667 a month in qualifying income. Compare that to $72,000 a year his tax return showed. We went from $6,000 a month of qualifying income to nearly $42,000 a month. Same borrower, same business, same year, different program. Now here's where it gets even better, and I want to be very clear about what I am about to say. We are not asking anyone to falsify anything. We are asking the CPA to document the truth. The default 50% expense factor is conservative. It is a fair assumption for a business that has a lot of overhead. But a lot of businesses do not look like that. Think about a service business, a consultant, a financial planner, a software developer, a real estate attorney, someone whose biggest expense, a laptop and a phone bill. Their real business expenses might legitimately be 10, 15, 28% of gross receipts, not 50. If that's the truth, and the CPA is going to put that, it will put that in writing, we can use a lower expense factor. We can go as low as 10%. Think about that. If your CPA accurately documents that your real business expenses are 10%, not 50, we're qualifying you on 90% of your gross receipts. On $1 million business, that's $75,000 a month of qualifying income. That can be a game changer number for a business owner. Again, this is not a workaround. This is not creative math. This is your CPA stating what is actually true about your business. Nothing more. So if your expenses are more than 50%, we just don't say anything because that's the standard that is applied according to guidelines. Loan amounts go up to $3.5 million with a FICO score as low as 620. That covers the vast majority of purchases and refinances I see. Who does this work for? Business owners who file an 1120, partners in a 1065 who own at least 50% of the partnership, even folks filing a Schedule C. We can use the top line: restaurant owners, contractors, medical practice owners, consultants, anyone whose tax return does not tell the true story of their business. And here's the part I want you to really hear. This is not some exotic high rate, high fee, last resort loan. The pricing is right in line with a standard bank statement loan. With enough down payment and a solid credit profile, we're talking rates that are competitive with what you would expect in today's market. Not a rate quote. Your actual rate depends on credit, equity, property, and program. But the point is, this is a real loan priced like a real loan for a real business owner. The irony is this: the better your CPA is at minimizing your tax bill, the less you look like a borrower on paper. The CPA Gross Receipts program fixes that. It lets you have it both ways. Keep the tax strategy, keep the write-offs, and still buy the house or refinance the one you have without being punished for being good at business. If you are a business owner, or if you know one who has been told no by a traditional lender, this is the conversation to have. Here's what to do. Head to rsrlinks.com/keysteps. That's rsrlinks.com/keysteps. That's my foundational planning resource. It covers budgeting, credit, and monitoring your identity against theft, which are three of the most important pieces of any strong mortgage file. Get those right, and every loan, including this one, gets easier. If you're specifically looking to buy a home and want to know what you can truly qualify for before you start shopping, go to rsrlinks.com/certified buyer. rsrlinks.com/certified buyer. That is my certified buyer program, which puts you in a position of strength when you make an offer. Either one gets you to me. And when you talk, we're not just going to quote you a rate. We're going to want to look at your whole picture, your business, your tax strategy, your household blended interest rate, your long-term wealth plan, because strategy beats rate always. I am Ron Siegel, your certified liability advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. Thanks for listening to Mortgage 101, brought to you by rsrlinks.com/keysteps. That's rsrlinks.com/keysteps. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, three things that are not going to happen in today's housing market. And you do not have to give up your 2.5% mortgage rate to move. The math proves it. All that and more. Reach me anytime. Our off-air number, it's 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you missed any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Confused about the home buying process? Or curious how much you really know about buying a home? Take the First Home IQ quiz to test your understanding of buying a home. Created by the nonprofit First Home IQ, this 5-minute quiz will give you a score, what you missed, and why. Take the quiz in 5 minutes at rsrlinks.com/FHIQ and find out what you need to know about buying your first home. That's rsrlinks.com/FHIQ.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions, as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Three things that are not going to happen in today's housing market. There's a lot of uncertainty right now, and that's leading to some dramatic headlines. And if you're thinking about buying a home, that can make you feel a little less sure about your decision. A recent study by CNBC asked home buyers what they're most worried about, and three themes kept coming up again and again. Mortgage rates, the number of homes for sale, and home prices. But a lot of what you may be hearing on those is based more on misconceptions, not on facts. So let's break it down and separate fact from fiction. Misconception number one. I'll just wait because mortgage rates are going to fall dramatically. One idea doing its rounds on social is that mortgage rates are going to drop dramatically soon. So it's better to wait to buy. But is that really what's expected? While mortgage rates have come down a bit in the last few weeks, forecasts don't show a major drop ahead. The most likely scenario is that rates stay somewhere in the low 6% range this year. And that's not a big change from where rates are now. If you're watching us on RonSiegelRadio.tv, any of our socials, or the ABC News and Talk AM 1490, FM 98.1 video feed, you are seeing a chart, mortgage rate projections for the rest of 2026. Now, and you can see Fannie Mae forecast right in there. We've got an MBA forecast in there. We've got a Wells Fargo forecast in there. Do you see a dramatic drop? I don't see some. Of course, this depends on where inflation and the economy go from here. But based on what we know today, waiting for a big drop in rates may not work out the way some people hope. As U.S. News explains, quote, mortgage rates aren't expected to change much over the next several quarters. Not to mention, even with rates where they are today, it's already more affordable than a year ago. So even if they don't change much, it's still better than it was. Misconception number two. There are too many homes for sale right now. You've probably heard inventory is up. And nationally, it is. The number of homes for sale is 8% higher than this time last year. But that's not a bad thing. In fact, it's one of the reasons buyers have a bit more breathing room right now. The problem is the headlines are making something good sound bad. They're focusing on how this is the most inventory we've had since 2019, or how many home builders are building. And that can make it sound like the number of homes for sale is rising too far, too fast. But that's not what the bigger picture shows. Data from Realtor.com proves that. Even though inventory is up compared to last year, it's still nearly 14% lower than it was during the last normal housing market, 2017 to 2019. That would be pre-COVID. While it can vary a lot based on where you live, only 9 states have more inventory than pre-pandemic today. That's a key reason why there still aren't enough homes for sale to trigger something like the crash back in 2008. Misconception number 3. Home prices are about to crash. You've probably heard this one too. The confusion is coming from the fact that some metros are experiencing slight price declines, and influencers are running with that and saying prices are crashing. But that's not the reality. Most areas are seeing prices rise, not fall. And that's because many homeowners aren't selling because they don't want to give up the low mortgage rate they locked in a few years ago. And that's keeping a lid on how much inventory can grow. Since inventory is still below pre-pandemic norms, there aren't enough homes for sale to cause a price crash. And even in markets with more inventory, some sellers are choosing to pull their homes off the market instead of cutting prices. And those are 3 big reasons prices aren't headed for a crash. And even in the markets experiencing mild declines, the drops aren't enough to cancel out the big gains most homeowners have seen in the last 5 years. Another graph, recent home price declines are offset by 5-year gains. Now, that's not a big crash. That's just prices moderating after a few record-breaking years. Markets don't go up in a straight line. They do have some slight moderations. And if you look, the year-over-year number, you don't see anything that's, I don't think there's any of Austin, Texas is the only one that's greater than 5%. Everyone else is under that. And Phoenix down 2.3, but up 26.4 over 5 years. Austin, even with a down 5.9, is up 10.1. Tampa's down 4.8, but it's up 32.4 over 5 years. Take a look at the numbers. It's not a crash. Again, prices just moderating after a few great years. Online posts are going to make things sound worse than they are. If you want true data-bound look at what's really happening in today's market, give us a call at 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990. You want to see what's going on in your market? We've got all those numbers. Go to rsrlinks.com/market report. rsrlinks.com/market report. And you can actually see what's going on exactly in your zip code. Doesn't get better than that. If you want to know what's going on at your house, rsrlinks.com/market wealth. rsrlinks.com/market wealth. Gives you all that data right there. You are listening to, I'm Ron Siegel, your certified liability advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. And thanks for listening to the Real-Time Real Estate segment brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, you do not have to give up your 2.5% mortgage rate to move. The math that proves it will show it to you. All that and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Borrow Smart segment today being brought to you by GetHomeSelect.com, GetHomeSelect.com. 1 in 3 sellers this spring are walking away from a mortgage rate under 5% on purpose. And you have to ask yourself, why would anyone give up a 2.5% mortgage in 2026? I am Ron Siegel, Certified Liability Advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. And today we're talking about the golden handcuffs and the family that finally found the key. Here's the story. Coldwell Banker just dropped a report based on more than 700 real estate agents across the country. The headline, 1 in 3 sellers this spring are listing homes that carry mortgage rates below 5%. Think about that. Half of every mortgage in America right now, about 50.6%, is sitting at 4% or lower. Roughly 78% are below 6%. These are the best rates any of us will ever see in our lifetime. So why move? Life. Life is why. Let me tell you about a family in this report. Call them the Smiths. They bought their home back in 2019, refinanced during the low rate era, and locked in at 2.5%. Then the kids started coming. They went from a family of 3 to a family of 5 in the same 4 walls. Kids fighting over closets, nowhere to put a desk. Mom and dad hitting a wall, literally. Here's what Mary said, and I am quoting her. I want my kids to feel like they aren't constantly struggling for their own space. That's not a rate problem. That's a life problem. And this is the piece that most homeowners miss. Your house is not a math equation. It's where your family lives. The survey says 36% of sellers this spring are listing because of personal life circumstances. Divorce, new baby, aging parent moving in, job change, empty nest, a kid who finally needs their own room. Life does not care what your interest rate is. So what does this mean for you? It means the lock-in effect is starting to loosen. It's not gone. 61% of agents still say it's a major or moderate factor in seller decisions. But it is cracking. And the families who figure this out first are the ones who get the best inventory before everyone else piles in. Now, here's the part I really want you to hear, because this is where strategy beats rate. Always. The Smiths did not just trade a 2.5% mortgage for whatever the builder was quoting. The builder's preferred lender, and I want to be clear, this was another lender, not us. That lender initially offered a 5.99% on a 30-year fixed. That was the sticker rate. But the family negotiated, and with the right conversation and the right paperwork, they secured a permanent buy down from the builder that dropped their rate to 5.375% for the life of the loan. Not a gimmick, not a 2-year teaser, not a rate that resets in year three and blows up the family budget. Permanent. Every payment for as long as they own that home. This is the difference between someone who looks at the headline rate and assumes there is no hope and someone who has a strategy. Let me say a word about buy downs in general. Most of the time, what a family actually needs is a permanent buy down. Life of the loan, every payment, no reset, no surprise in 3 years. That is what I am going to recommend for the vast majority of borrowers who walk in the door. Are there times when a temporary 1-year or 2-year buy down is the right tool for the right borrower? Of course. Not often, but sometimes. And that's exactly why a real conversation matters before you pick the product. So what do you do if you are sitting on a sub 5% rate right now and life is telling you it is time to move? First, do not try to figure this out on a napkin. Go to rsrlinks.com/keysteps. That's rsrlinks.com/keysteps. That's where we walk you through the real numbers you can actually afford. What is the real payment, including taxes and insurance? What are you giving up? And what are you getting back? Second, do not look at the headline rate on the news and assume that's your rate. Your rate is your rate. It depends on your credit, your equity, your property, and the lender. There are tools like a permanent buy down that most people never hear about because most loan officers are not having that conversation. It's payment assistance. Third, talk to somebody who does this for a living, not the uncle at Thanksgiving, not the social media guy with the hot take. A professional is going to look at your whole financial picture, your household blended interest rate, your liquidity, your safety, your return, and build you a plan. Here's the difference. Most loan officers can tell you what you're eligible for. A certified liability advisor tells you what is actually suitable for your life, your family, and your long-term wealth. Eligibility and suitability are not the same thing. And here is a strategy almost nobody is talking about. What if you did not have to give up that 2.5% rate at all? We can look at a quick and easy home equity loan on the property you are in right now. You pull out the equity you need for the down payment on the next home. You keep the current home as a rental, and you buy the new one your family actually needs. 2 properties, 2 streams of value growing, and that sub 5% mortgage is still working for you every single month. That is a conversation worth having before you list. Because here's the truth about the golden handcuffs. You do not need to break them by waiting. You break them with a plan. Strategy beats rate always. If you're thinking about making a move this year and you want to see what a permanent buy down could actually do for your family, go to rsrlinks.com/buy down. That's rsrlinks.com/buy down. You'll see exactly how this strategy works with real numbers, and you can book a Zoom with me to talk through your situation. Your rate is not your destiny. Your strategy is. I am Ron Siegel, your certified liability advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. Thanks for listening to the Borrow Smart segment, brought to you by GetHomeselect.com, GetHomeselect.com. And as always, I ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Josh and Sean who are engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.